Episode 421 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic is a special live episode tonight because I will be talking about Impact Wrestling Against All Odds, where two of Michigan's own, the Motor City Machine Guns, had two separate championship matches, and we'll be talking about WWE Friday Night Smackdown. Which side is Jey Uso on, the Bloodline or his brother Jimmy? And also discussing AEW Rampage featuring a 4-way women's number one contender match. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Welcome, Wrestling Fanatics. Hope everyone had a great Friday today, because right here, myself, Lance Brock, gonna be talking about a lot of pro wrestling action that took place this Friday night. We had Impact Wrestling Against All Odds, WWE Friday Night Smackdown, and AEW Rampage all tonight. About 6 hours of pro wrestling action. And let's get started with the first show that I watched tonight. Impact Wrestling Against All Odds on Impact Plus, Fight TV, and YouTube for Ultimate Insiders. But first, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we had the countdown to Against All Odds, which featured a couple matches. First, we have Kylie King with Taylor Wilde in her corner. She defeated Nevaeh. The Impact Wrestling Digital Media Championship was on the line. Joe Hendry successfully defending against Dirty Dango. Joe Hendry made his entrance and once again played the music video making fun of Dirty Dango that we saw this past Thursday night on Impact Wrestling, talking about him trying to get with Summer Rae and Eva Marie, calling him a Total Divas reject. And it's a pretty good match here on the countdown to Against All Odds. And once again, Joe Hendry retaining the Impact Digital Media Championship. So that was the countdown show. And now on to the main card, Impact Wrestling Against All Odds, live from Columbus, Ohio, at the Ohio Expo Center. The commentators tonight, Tom Hannafan and Matthew Raywalt. In our opening contest of Against All Odds, we have Frankie Kazarian taking on Eddie Edwards with Alicia Edwards in his corner. And one thing I enjoyed about this match, really talking about the training of the two by Killer Kowalski, and even they brought up the thing Kazarian learned in Kowalski's school, but when he comes into the ring, how he always hits the steps, testing them out. And these two have a really good opening match here. Frankie Kazarian gets the win. 12 minutes, 22 seconds. good way to kick off against all odds. I thought these two, both very good workers, good performers. And next up, the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Championships are on the line. The Good Hands with Brian Myers in their corner taking on the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And these two had I wouldn't say I didn't think this match wouldn't be good, but it was better than I thought it was going to be. A very good match. And it is ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin retaining, defeating the Good Hands. 9 minutes, 33 seconds. Both teams worked very well in this one, and I wouldn't be surprised one day if we see Skylar and Hatch get the tag team titles. One day, very good tag team, have been impressive in an Impact as of late. But it is ABC, Austin and Bay retaining. And next up is the Knockouts Dog Collar match. Masha Slamovich taking on Killer Kelly. Unfortunately, I have to apologize here. I did not get the time because for some reason, right when Killer Kelly was entering the ring and about to start the match, the power here went out for about a minute, and then it took about another minute or so for the Wi-Fi to get back on, and had to wait for then start Impact Plus again. So I missed the opening couple minutes or so I didn't get to get this match timed, unfortunately. But I did see most of the match. Didn't really miss that much. This one was pretty brutal, just as I expected. No blood like I talked about this morning on GMWF. I thought there might be, but still a brutal match. They definitely beat each other. And this one, we see Masha Slamovich defeat Killer Kelly. In this one, I really liked this match. And was it a pure wrestling classic? No, but I enjoyed it. And Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly are two that have been impressing me as of late. They were in the Hardcore War back at Rebellion in April. I see big things for these two coming up. And now the Impact Wrestling X Division Championship is on the line. And we have the reigning X Division champion taking on Michigan's own Chris Sabin, who I'm sure a lot of people would probably call an X Division legend here in Impact Wrestling. And I just want to say a great match here. Trey Miguel, the last match these two had, cheating to defeat Sabin and retain the championship. But this one was a fantastic match, I thought. Chris Sabin hitting some, I guess you could say, vintage TNA/Impact moves. The Angel's Wings of the Fallen Angels, Christopher Daniels. The Styles Clash, of course, the phenomenal AJ Styles. And then to finish these, Sabin hit the clothesline from Hell, Michigan, and a cradle shot to get the win, defeating Trey Miguel at 13 minutes, 10 seconds to become a 9-time Impact Wrestling X Division champion. So Now here at Against All Odds, you have one half of the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin, becoming a champion. Later on tonight, the other half of the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, challenges Steve Maclin for the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. And I will talk about that a little bit later on as this recap of Against All Odds continues. So once again, we have a new Impact Wrestling X Division champion in Chris Sabin. And now it is time for the first ever in Impact Wrestling history 8-4-1 match. Again, the rules for this one, in my opinion, are pretty simple. And starts off as an 8-man tag team match. And then once one of these team wins, it is a 4-way, and then the winner of the 4-way is the winner. So let's get started with this first ever 8-4-1 match. And we have Moose, Speedball Mike Bailey, Rich Swann, and PCO taking on their team of Bully Ray, the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham, Heath, and the National Treasure, Nick Aldis. And this one, I thought it's actually a pretty good idea. I like the concept of the match, and this one's a pretty good here. And it starts off, the teams coexist in this beginning 8-man tag, and we see Jonathan Gresham pin Rich Swann 9 minutes 25 seconds, and is now a 4-way match. Jonathan Gresham, Bully Ray, Heath, and Nick Aldis. And now it's every man for himself, no more teams. And the second part of the match is also very good. Nick Aldis gets the submission win by submitting Heath at 17:43 seconds. And now we know Nick Aldis is the number one contender for the Impact Wrestling World Championship at Slammiversary next month. But what we do not know is who he will be facing. And it will be the winner of Steve Maclin versus Alex Shelley in the main event tonight. Once again, I will get to that in just a little bit because we have a couple more matches to go still here on Against All Odds. Knockouts action again here on Against All Odds. We have the two knockouts who will be facing for the Impact Knockouts Championship at Slammiversary. Trinity and the Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo taking on the team of Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans, with Jay Vidal in their corner. And I thought this one was a pretty good match. Trinity and Purrazzo coexisted in this one and worked pretty well together. Deonna Purrazzo pinned Savannah Evans to score the win for her team, 10 minutes 2 seconds. And then after the match, they kind of look at each other a little bit, but then they shake and hug as they will face off at Slammiversary. I kind of thought that it might be more, I didn't think they were going to get into it or anything, but I thought they might kind of look each other kind of in the eye a little bit, like maybe Trinity could motion on her waist like she's going to take the title from her, something like that, but they ended up hugging. And then next up is the Ohio Street Fight, the Design, Diener, Khan, and Alan Angels taking on the reunited OVE, Ohio versus Everyone. Sami Callihan, Jake Christ, and the returning to Impact Wrestling Madman Fulton. And this one, of course, was another brutal match here. Weapons. We even see a mailbox in this one at one point, and brawling all over the place. One point, Madman Fulton and Khan go up on the stage, and they both go off through a table, and we get barbed wire tables, and Callihan gets the win for his team, OVE. So as of right now, I'm guessing this is probably the end of the feud with Sami Callihan and the Design. And at this time now, Tom Hannafan and Matthew Raywalt go over the current card for Slammiversary. And also we get an announcement in August. Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling joint show Multiverse United 2, For Whom the Bell Tolls. And the announcement is the first wrestler that is being announced for that show, and it is Hiroshi Tanahashi. Will definitely be interesting to see who Tanahashi will be facing at that show, but that is in August, Multiverse United 2, and if it's as good as the one they had during WrestleMania weekend, Only the Strong Survive this year, or earlier this year I should say, it's definitely going to be a very good show, because the one WrestleMania weekend definitely did not disappoint. So first talent announced, Hiroshi Tanahashi. And now it is time for the main event of Against All Odds. The Impact Wrestling World Championship on the line. Steve Maclin defending against the other half of the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley. Hannafan and Raywalt do a really good job here of putting over the fact that Alex Shelley has never been Impact's World Champion. They talk about last year how he had the shot against Josh Alexander for the World Championship. And Steve Maclin in this one, definitely a very good worker. So these two put on what I thought was a very good match. And then in the end though, Alex Shelley hits the shell shock at 22 minutes 39 seconds to get the win, and for the first time in his career become the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. Alex Shelley did it. And here in Michigan tonight, everybody should be celebrating. The Motor City Machine Guns, Michigan's own Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, the Impact X Division Champion, the Impact World Champion. We should be celebrating here in Michigan more than we did when the Tigers won the World Series. The last time when I was born, and the last time the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup, the last time the Pistons won the NBA Finals. Sabin and Shelley doing Michigan proud, on the top of Impact Wrestling right now. World Champion, X Division Champion. And like I talked about on GMWF, I was really hoping to see Shelley win the world title tonight. I just thought that they were going to have Steve Maclin have the title longer, but I am definitely happy to see Alex Shelley as the Impact World Champion. definitely looking forward to see his run with the title. So that was tonight's Impact Wrestling Against All Odds. And in my opinion, very good show. Very good show tonight. And in case you didn't see it, I definitely recommend checking out the replay. Maybe you can try it out, Impact Plus, or you can order it by itself on Fight TV, order the replay, and also you can go on YouTube, become an Ultimate Insider on Impact Wrestling's YouTube channel, and watch it there as well. But definitely worth checking out the replay of Impact Wrestling Against All Odds. And now, at this time, it is to go over. I went on my Sling DVR and watched WWE Friday Night Smackdown from earlier tonight. And Smackdown was live from Des Moines, Iowa. Commentators Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. And we have Paul Heyman and Solo in the ring out here representing the Bloodline. And then we get Jey Uso. Paul Heyman tries to talk Jey, try to kind of turn him against his brother Jimmy. He tells him that Roman is grooming him to be the next tribal chief, and kind of sounded like he was pretty much saying Jimmy was jealous. And he talked about how Jimmy was the one that super kicked Roman without talking to him about it. And Paul Heyman says that he got Jey Uso a title match tonight on SmackDown. Not a tag team title match, but a match for the WWE United States Championship against Austin Theory tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. And we will talk about that match a little later on. And our first match here on SmackDown tonight is a qualifying match for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Santos Escobar with Rey Mysterio in his corner representing the Latino World Order, taking on Mustafa Ali, who is a free agent, can appear on any show he wants. Was on NXT the last couple weeks, and tonight is on Friday Night SmackDown. And LA Knight is on commentary for this match. Santos Escobar defeats Ali to qualify them for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And then backstage we see Jey Uso and Sami Zayn tries to talk some sense into him. And he talks about how the good times they had with the Bloodline and then the tribal chief. Sami Zayn always had to prove himself, and he tried to turn him against his brother, and the same thing he is doing to Jey now, and Jey doesn't say anything. And next up, we have a qualifying match for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Bayley with Io Sky in her corner, taking on Mia Yim, representing the OC. And the phenomenal AJ Styles is on commentary for this one. Bayley gets the win, defeating Mia Yim. And after the match at ringside, we see Scarlett at the announce table, and she blows some red powder into the face of AJ Styles, and then Karrion Kross, sorry about that, attacks Styles. And then we find out later tonight on SmackDown next week, we will see a mixed tag team match. AJ Styles and Michin Mia Yim taking on Killer Kross and Scarlett next week on Friday Night Smackdown. And now at this time, Adam Pearce is in the ring to present to Asuka the new WWE Women's Championship, which was formerly the Raw Women's Championship. I'm guessing on Raw will be the World Women's Championship, but Asuka gets this new title, which once again is just like the other one, just different colors. And no surprise here, just a little bit after the championship was presented to Asuka on TV, WWEshop.com pre-orders for the new title were available almost right away. Once again, no surprise there. And at this time, though, we now see the return of Charlotte Flair, and she challenges Asuka to the match, or to a match, I should say, for the newly named WWE Women's Championship. And Asuka accepts. Asuka goes to hit the mist on Charlotte, but Charlotte ducks and counters Asuka's attack. Asuka bails out of the ring. And we have another men's Money in the Bank qualifying match now. Butch, representing the Brawling Brutes, defeats Baron Corbin. And Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are at ringside. Corbin is another free agent who has been appearing on NXT the last couple weeks and has been starting a feud with Carmelo Hayes, which will probably be for the NXT Championship. And now we have the Progressive Match Flow, which is a video package focusing on Bobby Lashley. And then in the back we see Cameron Grimes attack Baron Corbin. And we have another women's qualifying match for the Money in the Bank. Shotzi Blackheart takes on Io Sky, representing Damage Control, and Bayley is in her corner. Io Sky gets the win to qualify. And next up is our main event of the evening for the WWE United States Championship. It is Austin Theory defending against Jey Uso. And pretty good match, but we see some interference from Pretty Deadly as they get involved. And then we see Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso accidentally super kicking his brother Jay, which allows Austin Theory to get the pin and the win on Jey Uso. And after the match, Jey Uso, of course, upset, looking not too happy with his brother Jimmy. Paul Heyman and Solo are at ringside, and they're happy about what happened, but Jay just walks away. Doesn't decide with either of them tonight, so that's going to go on a little further. And Paul Heyman speaks into his iPhone, says call Roman Reigns. And that was tonight's episode of WWE Friday Night Smackdown on Fox. I thought this episode this week was pretty good. I thought the stuff with Jey Uso was pretty good. And Jimmy not knowing which side he will side, either the bloodline or his brother. And Now we go over to TNT for AEW Rampage, which was taped in Colorado Springs, Colorado this past Wednesday night. Our commentators, good old JR Jim Ross, the legendary Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur. And tonight's Rampage starts off with a trios match. Lucha Brothers and Bandito taking on All Ego Ethan Page, Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. Pretty good match here. And then at this time we see the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy make their way on the entrance. And the commentators explain why All Ego Ethan Page is in this one, with Matt Hardy owning the contract, and it was explained that Ethan Page has already signed on to this match before Matt Hardy got control of his contract. And they say Jeff Hardy got Ethan Page a gift, but he didn't extend it, and it turns out Ethan Page has some of Jeff Hardy's arm things on, and that distracts Page, and Bandito gets the pin on Ethan Page to score the win for his team in this trios match. And next up we get a segment of QTV, and after that, Powerhouse Hobbs is in action in a squash match, and the remarkable Renee Paquette is backstage with Arn Anderson, and Wardlow address the attack from Christian Cage and Luchasaurus on Arn's son Brock. And Wardlow cuts a promo on Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. And next up, the Spanish Announce Project. Luther Serpentico and Angelico taking on the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. And not a bad match here. We see Max Caster pin Luther to get the win. Once again, we see Renee Paquette. This time, she's at the entrance, and she is with Jeff Jarrett, Karen Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Sonam Singh. And then Karen Jarrett calls out referee Aubrey Edwards. Aubrey comes out with Mark Briscoe, and she says that AEW officials will not sanction a match between them out of respect to the wrestlers in the back, since they are not wrestlers. But then at this time, Mark Briscoe gets on the mic and says he talked to some higher ups and they will not sanction a one-on-one match between Aubrey and Karen, but they will make a mixed tag match, a mixed trios match to be exact, and it's Karen Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett, and Sanjay Dutt, or I think Sanjay might have said Jay Lethal. He might have put him in there. And they will be taking on the team of Aubrey Edwards, Mark Briscoe, and I have to admit, this is one that I wasn't expecting. Their tag team partner is going to be Papa Briscoe, and that is official. Not sure yet when that match is going to take place, but it will happen. Mixed trios match. That one should be pretty entertaining to see. And our main event of Rampage this week, or what I should say is, as Mark Henry says, it's time for the main event. And it is a 4-way match to determine the number one contender for the AEW Women's Championship this Wednesday night on Dynamite. And it is Sky Blue, Nyla Rose, Mercedes Martinez, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. This one, good match, I thought. And the commentators really built it up and said, talked about Nyla Rose and how this Wednesday's Dynamite will be from Washington, D.C., which was the first site of the first episode of Dynamite. And that kind of made you think that Nyla could come out on top in this four-way and get the title shot. But in this one, in my opinion, there was quite an upset victory, and it is Sky Blue pinning Nyla Rose to get the win in this one and to earn the title shot. So this Wednesday night on Dynamite, we will see Sky Blue challenge the AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm live on TBS. And that was tonight's episode of AEW Rampage. I thought we had some good matches. I wouldn't say it was anything real spectacular, but the main event I enjoyed. Like I said, surprise upset victory in my opinion. Sky Blue becoming the number one contender for the AEW Women's Championship. So overall tonight, this Friday, I thought we had some really good wrestling with the regular Friday night shows, Smackdown and Rampage, and also Impact's Against All Odds tonight. Definitely was a good Friday night for pro wrestling. I definitely recommend checking out all three shows. And 1 week from tomorrow night, the first episode of AEW Saturday Collision on TNT. And that's all for this Friday night episode 421 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. Whether you're listening here on this special live episode right here on Spreaker, or if you're listening to the podcast version, that'll be up just in a little bit after this episode ends, either on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, just about anywhere you can listen to podcasts. You can find 360 Wrestling Podcast. And as I've been doing lately for these special events and pay-per-views, have been going live after to recap them with 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, or just want to say anything at all, you can leave them in the comment section right here on Spreaker or wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast, whichever app or website or podcatcher. I think that's what they call them these days. You can leave them in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of Smackdown and Rampage. Give your opinion on Against All Odds. And also, if you have a company or a business or any kind of service, you can advertise with 360 Wrestling Podcast. Hopefully you can work something out. I'll try my best to advertise your product. Email me 360wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. I'll also put the email in the description. And as always, I hope to have more 360 Wrestling Fanatic new episodes coming at you real soon for everyone. And one thing is for sure, I will be here tomorrow morning for the Saturday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. Once again, thank you for tuning into this special live episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Have a great night, everyone, and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.